Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I will dedicate a reading for a subscriber. They have suggested that I do a reading about what people like and dislike. Um, what do people like and dislike about you? I think one thing that is worth mentioning is the fact that you don't have to stress out at the section of what people dislike about you. This is going to be a more so on an observation from their side. This doesn't mean that you have to change, or whether you want to change or not really depends on your choice, but I will not say that everything I will mention in the reading will be objectively true, and that if someone saw something negative, that this is necessarily the case. So I think that's all. Pick what resonates and leave the rest. This is the golden rule, I guess, for the pick a card readings. But for this reading, I have 4 piles as usual, 4 stones associated with each. The first stone will be the pink quartz. The second stone will be Labradorite. The third stone will be the Pyrite. And the last one is the Citrine. So take your time and pick your pile. You can of course choose multiple, and see the only warning thing that you don't make it fit for you if it doesn't. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention in the introductory section. Check out the commentary section for the timestamps, and I'll be seeing each of you in your specific pile you have chosen. Hi, pile number 1, welcome to your reading. So you have chosen the pink quartz stone. So you have quite the cards, actually. I was taking some notes. So the central card in the reading will be the air. Sorry, I usually confuse these pronunciation things. So this card for me, and you have in here written unseen potential and hesitation. And to be honest, it feels to me like you could be that person who people would regard as like, this person has high hopes, like gives high hopes, or you could be highly respected, highly regarded in general. I wrote in here power, fulfillment, responsibility, containing a lot of potential and being praised, respected, overall considered important or special. If this is, you can take it both ways. It could be that you're exuding these qualities if you haven't received yet these things I have described, but you might be as well exuding or cultivating these qualities within yourself, and you have lots of people who appreciate this about you. So importance, demeanor, I wrote in here as well royalty and nobility. So this doesn't mean that you are necessarily royal, or this is more so a metaphor. And when I say royal or noble, I mean that you possess the qualities of someone who would be. I don't know who's watching, it could be like royalty. I don't think so, but yeah, whatever. I wanted to stress the point that you could be possessing the qualities of a person who would be considered royal or noble. That means you could have a very refined way of being, and this basically, people feel this in your presence. Or it could be refined in general, like manners, or could be very intelligent as well. What else? So I wrote in here as well high in tier, because I see a crown card, and this is something that is giving me that kind of vibe, as well as with the crown. With this card, I see you being popular. For some reason, people like the fact that you are out there, And if I'm mistaken and you're not popular, it could be that you are very much discussed, or maybe you have that publicity type of thing where a lot of people are interested to know about you, and they really like your presence out there. That is something that I feel with this card. So, as well, with this card, the air, containing lots of talents or being very skilled. I wrote in here as well luxury and refined, beauty and grace. Could be graceful as well. So, moving on, that was the air card. You have the man card. And it is quite interesting. The man card doesn't mean that necessarily like it is a man who's watching, but it is male energy or masculine energy, let's say. Um, And the man card for me in this case, what people like is the fact that you're willful, direction driven, concentrated, steadfast, as well as stubborn in your goals or pursuit of your goals, oriented, goal oriented, determinate, and intentional. For me, the man card in this context is really powerful as it describes a person who's very out there and action oriented. Direction, like as I said, driven, that means if you like, you might be that person who doesn't like to be told what to do, and most likely you're going to create your path in life, and you'll not rely on someone else's direction or way of living, something about this as well. In this representation of the man card, you have like, you could be materialistic in the positive sense, meaning that for me, you could be oriented towards balancing and creating a fulfilling life in the material realm, um, as well as possessing enough material abundance to be giving and be stable and really like helping towards the people that you love. As well, you have here for this card being active and dominant. See how it fits for you, but the man card, the masculinity card, is like very out there, active. It's not about passivity, it's not about standing there or sitting there and doing nothing or thinking a lot. It's and you have here lots of cards indicating action. The next card is the champion. The next card I will address. So for this card, you have recognition, publicity, praise, skill, trial and error. Could be as well that you could be considered prideful in the positive and the negative way, because this card talks about, I remember, someone who is very fond of victories, but sometimes too focused on it. And while they were feeling this victory, the enemy was like taking back the strength and challenging again the champion, meaning that you shouldn't be too oriented towards like pride, or don't overly exert yourself in that way or manner. I wrote in here as well confident leader and the one to lead. So for this card, the shadow aspect of this could be that you could be boastful or arrogant. Of course, if it doesn't resonate with you, this is not necessarily the case, but see that this trait doesn't like interfere and make you express in the more shadowy way. With a champion, of course, what I wanted to say, I mentioned here things about publicity, and it feels to me like you could be a person who's watched a lot, as I said, and would be considered like a very important. Champion is out there. Champion takes the spotlight, takes the attention of people. The next card, you have the optimism. In reverse, by the way. So in reverse, it feels to me like you could be very serious, a person with an attitude of like, I am bulletproof, realistic, as well. I wrote in here tactician, grounded, a fighter, action-oriented. I wrote in here as well involvement, and it feels to me like with the optimism in reverse, you are not going to, as I said, sit out there and do nothing, like only observe. It feels to me like you're going to be that person to actively involve themselves in a situation when they see that it is not working, or when they see that it is their right to enter the stage somehow. Participation as well. Business oriented and very like serious. Yeah, I guess that repeats itself, but with optimism, optimism in general can be, I guess, considered like a very positive card, but in this case, with the surrounding cards and their relationship, the message that seems to go out is the fact that you're not going to be like that light. Light in the sense of not like sunlight, but not heavy. You're not going to be that light person who's going to be like very peaceful, whatever. Like when the time comes, you're going to be that person to basically pursue things, and as well with the optimism is not waiting for the right circumstances to kick in or for the situation to turn for the better, and most likely are going to like intervene and make things right, or facilitate the right direction of things going right, basically. Which is quite interesting for this pile because so far I see lots of masculine type of energy in here. Doesn't mean that if you're a woman watching that this pile is not for you. It could be that what people like about you is being more so represented by the qualities that you presented, like in the description I have given you. So the next card is the Sentinel card. This as well, to be honest, the champion, the Sentinel, they are very like fight me type of cards, and it feels to me like you could be a very strong person or a person who's willing to fight, both in the literal sense and the metaphorical sense, meaning that you're not passive. You're not. It feels to me like specifically that in difficult situations, you're going to be the first person to hold the sword or something like this. So with this card, you have determination, certainty, guardianship, security, self-confidence, protection, extreme focus, safety, control, observation, and vigilance. So you could be the person who takes care of their loved ones and provides for them both materially and like safety-wise. I would consider this pile to be very like, to be honest, somehow tight, because there is a lot of like pressure that I feel with these cards. And with the determination and guardianship, security, it feels to me like you could be that core person to protect, like to advance, protect, similar to a leader. Quality is like very much so in resonance with like a person capable of being or representing a leader. Well, next card you have the Knight of Wands with the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is in reverse. I wrote in here action-oriented, testing foundations, and people's intentions. So, I would consider this pile to be honestly either a fire sign or having lots of fire placements, because I see in here lots of like exterior and action driven decisions, very active, to be honest. And you have as well the King of Fire or the King of Wands, charismatic, fiery, extroverted. Wheel of Fortune you have in here, and lucky. So it could be that people like about you the fact that you are being seen as very lucky, or a person who is like willing to bet or willing to risk and receive the best possible outcome. But as well with the Ten of Wands, I would say that people might be seeing you as hyper responsible, or that you could be considered as well a person who makes too many goals or is maximalistic in a way. So, give me a minute in here. Okay, so I think we covered the positive things. The positive things were on the left side, and the more negative things, or at least let's say that, are going to be centered in the right section of the reading. And you have there the blank card. Honestly, a very intriguing card to fall into this category, mostly because the blank card, what people don't like about you is the fact that you could be so like strong and so much pressure on you that you are reluctant to open. And it feels to me like there is a degree of not being open, even with the people that you trust and love. That is something interesting. Lots of envy, by the way, because the Ten of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune falls on the right side. But because you have the King of Wands, it feels to me like many are not brave enough, or are not brave in general, to really face you, or to face you in a more direct manner. But overall, if you possess abundance or lots of either fame, attention, you could be very much envied. And some people consider that with the Ten of Wands in reverse, you did not deserve it. That doesn't mean that it is the case. I feel like the energy of envy is pretty much, well, too much, like too present in this reading. And I don't know whether you should be like really careful about this or not, but yeah, it's just an observation, I guess. And there are lots of people as well that would want to know your insecurities, your vulnerabilities with the blank card in here. I feel that. And you do your best to keep your guard up, but I guess like try to be more trusting with the people you would consider like really close and like bulletproof in that direction. With self-trust, the positive things that people don't like about you is the fact that, I mean, let's say it that way, but is the fact that you can be too confident for some, or you could be way too like feeling in the right to pursue or to make their ideas known, and for some I feel like this is a problem. With the self-trust in reverse, I wanna, oh sorry, it's an upright. I want to say in here that you shouldn't be reliant at all on the negative things that people say, specifically because this case is not a true reflection of what is actually happening. And it could be the case that it's merely the fact that you are being, by being out there, you're being faced with a lot of criticism and commentary. And with the self-trust, I feel like I don't even need to, well, focus too much on this aspect of the reading. Okay, and for the last two cards, you have the Brawler card in reverse and the Chiromancer card as well in reverse. The Brawler card is honestly a very out there like fighting card as well. The description of the card talks about a person who's able to pick fights wherever they go. And in regards to your message, it feels to me like there is an immense pressure between the people that don't like you and the fear that they experience by thinking of confronting you. So, to be honest, like the negative aspect of you could be, let's say, you're not facing things in a more like active way despite the qualities I have told you about. Maybe it's the fact that you are very discerning with the fact that with the fights that you pick. But overall it feels to me like you have like lots of either haters or people that don't really like your presence and are really talking things about you behind your back. And it feels to me like there is no like solution here that would make these people more peaceful. It's not your fault, and it feels to me like you just have to go through it. And the card in reverse talks about seeking ways to be more upfront or to not wait for the tension to build up. But it is entirely up to you whether you want to pursue this or whether you want to still remain in that energy of like, I don't want to pick a fight right now. So know that you definitely have haters with this card, but it is your decision whether you're going to engage with them or whether it is worth it in general um, to do that. The Chiromancer card is as well in reverse, and it talks about like pretty much the business of a fortune teller or the person who's like telling the future. And it's in reverse, and it means like no matter if you're going to engage with your haters or not, you're not going to change the nature of their nature in general. It feels to me like it is a little bit futile to want to change the negative people and their comments, but it is more useful for you to feel a degree of greater freedom from these. And yeah, I will not lie, it feels to me like with this pile, I don't have to mention the negative stuff because it's completely not about you. It's completely about their perception of you, the negativity that they spill upon you. If you're a person with a public page or with followers and you're having haters, this could as well be the case that they're envious or that they see something that they don't have or they perceive that to be in you and they don't know how to create it into their life. And that's the reaction they get. But so far, the only thing like worth mentioning is the fact that some people would see you as being very tight or serious in general, and you'd benefit the most out of like letting your guard down specifically with the people that you trust. I think that's pretty much all for this pile as well. Like keep in mind to um, be more open with your friends, the people that you trust. Don't feel so lonely as well. And I think pretty much that's all for this pile. I'd like to say that I feel specifically intrigued by the people who are going to watch this. I have no idea what's to follow in the next card, in the next piles, but it is a very intriguing pile, to be honest, and a very like conflicting thing that's happening because of your exposure and because of you being out there and expressing yourself. Don't believe the negative things that they tell about you, and believe in your cause, in your purpose, and in the way and the mechanic behind what you're doing and why. Because for this pile, the advice in the end of the reading would be to trust their core, their own like guidance, to be honest, and I feel like you don't have any problem in that regard. Keep doing the things that you have been doing, and I guess it's only like a thing to accept the fact that, yeah, still you're going to perhaps have haters or people who are not going to particularly appreciate your presence no matter how much you try or not to change. So that was all, first pile. I hope you enjoyed and it resonated with you. If it did, please comment below and like the video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I really hope to see you in the future. Bye! Hi pile number 2, welcome to your reading. It is your pile if you have chosen the Labradorite stone. Let's see what people like and dislike about you. Starting with the first card being the Captain. So, the Captain card for me is a very extroverted, out there card. It is a card of course, leadership, the Captain being representative of that concept. I wrote in here teamwork, taking command, leadership as well, role of a good mediator, agreements, conflict management, ability to bring people together. So, apart from the fact that, the card says teamwork and taking command, this reminded me of a person who's capable of mediating conflicts and creating good agreements between conflicting parties or parties in general. So people must see you as a very peaceful, diplomatic person who's capable of bringing peace and agreement to the table when the situation calls for it. So you can be a good person to help people interact as well, and people are acknowledging the fact that you are like, you do possess these kinds of traits where you would help people get well together. Agreements as well for me signifies the ability of yours to set aside emotions, negative things, and think in more cooperative ways. That means if you are in a setup where, for example, you are required to function and to set aside your interests or whatever, or even like disagreements, you can very well manage to work without like taking things personally, or at least not at least, but on top of that, I feel like you would help people do the same thing. So obviously teamwork, yeah, I think I covered this. As well, I wrote in here friendliness, diplomacy, of course I talked about this, warmth, loyalty, camaraderie, social, and networking. So I think I've summed up pretty well that you are that person to, yeah, as I said, bring people together, which is a good thing. It is overall an out there card, meaning that it's not introverted, it's more extroverted, or it is a quality that is being presented in here as something that people like and enjoy about you. The next card, I was reading the Tower and made a combination. The next card is the Tower from the Lenormand deck. It is a positive type of card, not like in traditional destruction type of meaning. So what I felt about this pile people liking is the fact that you are serious, reliant, out there, official, a foundations person, diplomat as well. The message repeats itself, business oriented, polite, and again networking. So the Tower card is for me very official, very foundations card as well. So it feels to me like you are regarded as someone who's very harmonious, and people like working with you. A foundations person means to me that people enjoy creating deals with you, or yeah, creating, I guess, is the best word right now for me, specifically because you stick to the rules or something like this. And again, business oriented and out there means that, you know, you are the action that you generate in general feels to me like it is directed towards like people, towards the world, and there is much interaction out there. As well, polite, it is only an addition to the qualities I have described, meaning that people, aside from the business type of mentality, like to interact with you because you seem so like polite and friendly and warm at the same time, really social as well. So we are moving on to the next card, which is the Archer. So I have been reading the description for this card, and it's a pretty interesting one, specifically because the metaphor of an archer is someone who takes a lot of time to like set their arrow onto the target, but in the end they end up being really precise and really end up hitting the point. No matter how much time it took them, they are precise and they get what they want, type of thing. So I wrote in here precise, slow but steady, focused, mastery, on their own mind, single task oriented, detached, planners, not like everyone else. So it is definitely a thing about this pile, people regarding you as being very like slow but quality oriented, and if you set your mind to something, most likely you're going to have that attitude of like, I want to make it perfect. It could be the case of someone who's a little bit perfectionistic in here, but overall I feel like, you know, there is a very good thing, a good quality of yours, like a virtue in the sense of like you focusing on the quality, and no matter how much it takes, people compliment you on being masterful on the things that you do. Careful that you don't fall into the perfectionistic spectrum in here, but yeah, it's completely up to you to see how it fits on their own mind, and that feels to me like you'd be that person to have their own vision, their own idea of how things should work, and no matter how much people will try to steer you away from that, you are still going to pursue whatever you think or feel is right for you. And you know, the archer, or you know, in here it reminds me very well of a sniper, meaning that you know your target and sooner or later you're going to hit it. So that is completely going to give people the impression that you are, first of all, not going to be steered away, and second of all, that sooner or later whatever you desire will come true, simply because it might be that either you are stubborn or because you have set your mind to do it. Planners as well. Planners comes in the idea that you know, with the archer and the slow-paced type of thing, you could be more focused on the process or planning a lot, but in the end it is not that type of plan where it takes you too much time and it's pretty much worthless or meaningless. It is a well thought good plan that you pursue, like this attitude of like, I would rather study, think, and create a very detail oriented plan of action towards something that I want. So you have, it's like a ritual, to be honest, like people recognize these qualities. And not like everyone else, it seems to me like with the archer, I honestly don't meet a lot of archer people, and the message I got in here is the fact that, you know, the specific traits that you possess, the virtues I have described in here, let's say, are really rare, and people would consider that to be like a rare jewel, like those traits. Like, I hope you treasure them, because people around you treasure them quite a lot, maybe even more so than you. or you might be used to it and therefore not acknowledging the good things. The next card is the Gambler. And the rule for the reading was the left side will be the positive things and the right side will be the negative things. And the Gambler card gave me like trouble interpreting it, because it's not overall a very positive card, but in the context of what people like, it might be that you are fun, you are a risk taker, adventurous, living fully in the moment. And as well, the Gambler, from the description of it, talks about repetition and habits. So repetition and habits comes really well with the previous things I have told you about. The classical way in which you can go about doing things and them being successful. At the same time, I love the fact that fun and risk taker, adventurous, makes you not only be that serious person, but the person who's capable of living in the present moment and having fun and not being so like grim, or someone could say boring. The Gambler is someone who's willing to take a leap of faith, and this is not a conservative type of thing where you'd see people like go in the same direction, never change their mind. It's an overall good thing to be so flexible and receptive to change, to easygoing moments in life, which I consider to be great. And this is definitely what people see and like about you. Maybe you're that get-goer, let's go to parties type of person. If not, at least you are fun to be around, or people really enjoy your presence. So yeah, I think that's relevant to the question. So I think it is good to move on to the next card, which is the Higher Purpose in reverse. And this one gave me like as well trouble interpreting it, because you'd see the higher purpose upright and you'd say that the person is focused on a higher purpose, whatever. But for me, this card in reverse as well is very well linked to the Gambler card, meaning that you live in the moment. You live now. I wrote in here as well, easygoing, outgoing, not serious when necessary. So higher purpose is definitely the balance of, in reverse, the balance between, people who take things too serious, too close to the heart, and you having either the capacity to switch between these perspectives, being flexible, or you just really enjoy to be outgoing, extroverted, fun to be around, something along these lines. Honestly, it feels to me like a very fortunate circumstance where you'd see the higher purpose in reverse in the positive sense. I've met like really grim people that project themselves into the future and try to basically like maximize their like profit or time spent, whatever. Like, it feels to me like you're the opposite of that, and you can invite that spontaneity to the table. And with the higher purpose, it's not about only, like in reverse, it's not about only fixating upon a destination, but also like having fun along the way and enjoying the ride, basically. Honestly, like, I don't think the higher purpose in this case is a bad thing to be in reverse. Moving on, so we have the Magician card. Resourceful, agreements, manifesting, smart specifically in obtaining or achieving what they want. So the Magician card overall is a very resourceful card because it possesses all the necessary like ingredients, like the 4 suits to manifest whatever they want. In the positive sense, people would see you as a very high potential person, in the sense of like, I know this person will reach success. And when I say success, I mean your goals, your aspirations. It could be money, career wise, whatever, relationship wise, traveling, you name it, basically. But It is also kind of like a wish fulfillment card for me, because it comes really well with the other cards I have described, in the sense of like being action oriented towards realizing one's own dreams, potential, ideas, goals. And of course, it is a card of a manifestor. So, smart in obtaining, achieving what they want means to me that, as I said, for you it is necessary to have a dream or to feel what you want. And kind of it feels to me like, more or less, you have the general direction in life where you need to go in order to achieve those, or what you need to do, basically. And people around you see you as very successful and capable person to make things happen or come to fruition, basically. You have as well the Ace of Pentacles, and when I saw this card, I was like as well questioning its meaning. But then again, I saw it as being a very skeptical card. You being self-reliant at times, independent, or not taking the bait. So I always regard the Ace of Pentacles as a card which is like wish fulfillment, gifts, whatever. But in this case, it feels to me like, it being in reverse, you are not so eager to be open to everything in life, either because of experience or discernment. I guess it really doesn't matter, but it is a feeling of, I have to test it out, or I have to find more information about it before I can trust it. Something like this. I don't know whether it is really necessary. No, I don't feel like saying that you should be more receptive. Completely trust your own experience and guidance. The positive things people see is that, you'd like to test things out before you try them. The Four of Swords was there as well in reverse, and it feels to me as well like, yeah, I'd rather make it happen on my own, or I'd much rather make it work or find my own solution to the problem, instead of like accepting an obvious answer or accepting help from a very dubious source. This doesn't have to mean that you're not receptive to help in general. What I mean is that you think through every decision that you make and consult yourself first before accepting advice from other people or other sources. Like, first seeing how it fits personally for me, how I feel about this topic, and then I will make sure that everything is settled and we can continue on. So it's not reliance on the exterior, and it's more reliance on the interior, and then creating a response in accordance to that. There is something as well about the Strength card, which talks about, in this context, people seeing you as very strong, and I'll explain in a minute why it is in reverse in this case. So the feeling I get for this pile is, it's not that you are not strong, it's the fact that you can build up such an exterior of being, like, it gives me an invulnerable and like steel person, that actually people mistaken and think that you don't have like emotions, or something about this pile makes me think that they are so proficient at hiding their feelings, detaching as well, and creating a persona that is somehow invulnerable or does not possess vulnerabilities. At the same time, you have the Page of Swords, meaning that it is not actually necessarily true, but you do have your moments of weakness, but somehow the camouflage is so good that at times either even you can be even you at times can gaslight yourself into thinking that you're invulnerable and you don't have feelings, or you might be avoiding them. But for some reason, there is a negative aspect in here that is being invited to the table, because when people perceive you to be invulnerable, so strong and so reliant, whatever, it feels to me like they have this signal inside of them that they can be the soft ones, and lay their burdens onto you. And that is something that I don't particularly like, because you don't create a window of opportunity for you to be vulnerable, soft, and at ease and relaxed. It is a positive thing that people see you as strong, but the flip side for this would be that, you will not have your own moments of weakness, and therefore recognition that you also need rest, care, and love, which is something worth noting and being careful about. Okay, so I think that's all for the pair of cards. We're moving on to the negative spectrum, which has the Sailor card. I wrote in here instability, lack of long-term vision, detachment from future outcomes, free of bounds, untamed, needing to stop and set foundations. It feels to me like a lot of people who particularly hate you or don't like you think that you're not being, let's say, some people might see you as not foundational, but like it comes from a misunderstanding, or them not knowing truly what's happening, or them not knowing truly who you are. It feels like this assessment or judgment is being imposed upon you unfairly, merely because either they are projecting, or because actually they don't know you on a deeper level. But with the Sailor card, I can say some people would judge you as being not long-term oriented, untamed, in the sense of you could be stubborn, you could be pursuing something on your own to such a degree that people feel like they are being left out. Again, this feels to me like a judgment which is completely not true, because it is a very superficial type of information level. It feels to me like this pile, when they set themselves to be untamed, when they set their goals to be not necessarily oriented towards people around them, or at least that's what they think, is the case where you want to make yourself happy and then provide for others. And for some reason, it feels to me like there is a lot of judgment imposed upon you. There is a lot of, you should be doing things the other way and not the way in which you're doing it right now. Something honestly talks about this for some reason, but it is as well a capacity to follow through with your own ideas and plans without caring for the commentaries, the things that people try to say. Again, this could be seen as a manipulation from their side, and I don't think it's necessarily true that you should be steered away from it. There is a sense of isolation in here that I felt. So the next thing, the catalyst in reverse. Being set in your own ways, working in one's favor, closed off from the world around them. So that's as well something people, it's very well linked to the Sailor card, but people would see you as very much like in their own world, but closed off from the other people. Like, I would see you as having a very specific vision or having a very specific quest in mind, and for some reason people would see you as like yeah, they're doing it their own way. They are so stubborn and separated from us. The hunter, sure-footedness, predestination. I wrote in here stubbornness, fixated, goal-oriented, and oriented towards achieving their own, like pursuing their own goals and ideas. These three cards encompass pretty much the same qualities, in the sense of like the stubbornness as a concept says that you're not going to be persuaded, talked out of doing something that you have decided for yourself. I think it comes from a very deep sense of character or awareness of character in your case that really prevents you from being something else for other people. And with that comes a lot of like negativity directed towards you, which I consider to be pretty much even a compliment, because you get well in life when you have enemies or something like this. With the coffin card, I want to say it could be the case that you are either lacking seriousness or being too serious, but again, superficial. I think encompassing all the messages I have told you about, it is more so lacking seriousness. But again, like, I don't want to stress this out because it feels to me like people don't know you well, and because of that fact, it feels to me like they don't care to dive deeper and to understand you better, and therefore these comments are to be completely disregarded. If you feel like you do possess the depth and you are serious when it's needed, but still people think otherwise. So that was all for your piles. Second pile, Labradorite stone. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did and it resonated, please like and comment. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I really hope to see you in the future videos. Bye! Hello and welcome, pile number 3. So you have chosen the Pyrite stone. Let's see what people like and dislike about you. Starting with the first card, the Storyteller. The Storyteller, in this case, it's written here, viewpoints and control. First of all, I want to say this for me is a very entertaining and fun card. And thus I wrote in here entertaining and fun to be around. Lots of information and stories to be told. Unique soul, out of this planet, entertaining, fun and comforting. A very good addition to the crew. I will continue on because this has its interference with the star card, but I want to say that with this pile I feel like we are dealing here with a very deep personality. The storyteller is a person who doesn't run out of things to say, and I would consider you to be very captivating and complex as a personality. Unique soul unique soul, I wrote here this because it feels to me like the experiences that you went through were so personalized, and because of that it feels to me like you do possess originality, or you have gone through enough for you to sort out preferences, to know yourself better. I wouldn't be surprised if you would be considered an old soul as well. The storyteller as well for me is a person who's very entertaining, fun. I mean, it is a type of person who is very versatile in the sense of when you can tell someone an information to comfort them, but at the same time you can be as well entertaining. You can as well be, I sense here a very vast inner world, specifically because there are types of people where you would consider them to be, let's say, a listener or more extroverted, but in this case it feels to me like Because of these multiple layers to your personality, you can be many things to different people. And I wrote in here addition to the crew simply because I believe that we benefit the most, especially in groups of people, by the ones who are more experienced, who are possessing a depth to them. And I like to regard these people like the writers, for example, because I wouldn't be surprised if you engage like in some sort of like artistic endeavor, or if you write, or perhaps if you have like an outlet for this inner world of yours. So next up we have the star card, deep, beautiful, charming, dreamy as well, advanced, steadfast, interesting, and multi-layered. So I think the star card and the storyteller, this is like as well a very good channel for me. It feels to me like you can channel things not only from your own experience, but somehow like you can be a channel from things like beyond this material realm. Either it be that you connect with spirituality, or it can be the case that you are possessing a very good imagination. You can be very innovative or creative in that regard, and it feels to me like people can consider you to be dreamy because you have this capacity to take things out of the abstract, imaginary, and make them more tangible, and thus tailor these stories, because this storyteller is someone who as well is capable of creating things, writing things, and it feels to me like the only person who's capable of writing or creating new stuff is the one who possesses the qualities of a one that I have described in here. So that is creativity, vast knowledge, experience. It's more creative, like the energy I sense in here is more creative, and at least it's like a layer of the reading. Meaning that usually I find, as I said, like people with different, I don't know, talents or specializations, in the sense of, like, as I said, someone could be more psychologically directed, someone creatively gifted. But in this case, it feels like a very unique combination of multiple traits. And the ones that seem to come up to the surface are this, like, artist type of soul and like old soul at the same time. Fun, happy, outgoing, adventurous, light, containing both seriousness and lightness of character. You have here the victory card, so it could be, I wrote in here, victorious, charismatic, or you could be that person. People can regard you as being that type of person who went through a lot but didn't assume the stance of like the victim, or was able to somehow tell a different story or transform the experience for it to seem more like a legend, or like a thing that built you up or made you who you are. I wrote in here as well, achiever, engaged into the journey and fulfillment of their goals. So it feels to me like a very distinct situation where you would be considered a person who has been through a lot but has managed to, as I said, transform it and create this narrative, which seems to me honestly like, for some reason, it feels to me like a legend of sorts. Like people would aspire to go through the same, but honestly, for some reason, they it feels to me like they don't know what they're asking for. And because of the transformation of the experience that you have undergone, it is now possible for you to see things, see your past through this gratitude lens. So it's that type of case where you would envy someone, for example, you see them where they are and you would want to see yourselves you'd want to see yourself there as well, but you do not know what they went through to begin with, for you to even try to fit in the same type of scenario. So it's definitely someone who has been through a lot and has managed to somehow digest and integrate these negative or bad experiences into the idea of who they are. And there is a lot of, you could be like the entertainer person who is capable of attracting a lot of attention or being the center of attention, taking the spotlight even. Like, for some reason, it could be even that you are exuding that through your presence. But as well, it feels to me like it is who you are. So you can't even manufacture that. Like, you find yourself in the center of attention, I can say. And it's for good reason, because with these qualities, I believe it is best that you externalize those and bring value to the world, to yourself, through sharing, through love as well, which is quite nice. I mean, it feels to me like a very fortunate example of someone who was able to transform and create a different, like change the lens in which they see the world, which is quite rare, to be honest. Again, I wrote in here artist, artistry, creativity, charm, character, multiple complexities of character, and being very magnetic and enchanting. Artist, soul. Yeah, I mentioned that above. I want to say in here that people can stare. That's something else. People can stare at you, or you spark intrigue. The magnetic aspect as well, like you can remain silent, but still you somehow still manage to attract attention, which is quite curious in here. And I would not be surprised, or if you're not already, I would encourage you to find an outlet for all of this creative energy, because it feels to me like not only you would benefit from self-exploration, but the world itself would do the same thing. Like the world would benefit from your expression into it. So you have here as well spiritually connected with the higher realms of things beyond the material one. Like, as I said previously, you are a very good channel. You have the moving beyond card, and that reminded me to say this aspect of like retrieving information. I wouldn't be surprised if you resonate with the Akashic records, or you can spontaneously have these inner knowings, then definitely this is about you. Wise, growth oriented, like, or it could be that you undergone a lot of growth and you've changed a lot. Old soul, I think I mentioned that above. Knowledgeable, generous, emotionally present, a listener, having lots of awareness. Oh, sorry. Awareness could as well be the case, by the way. I'm not surprised I mentioned this. Having lots of answers to struggles of people. Strong, reliant, real presence. Honestly, like as I saw in here, so this is the pilgrim. The pilgrim talks about opportunities and growth in the traditional sense, but in this case I feel like you are very resourceful and knowledgeable, or you do possess a lot of information and answers to, like as I said, people's questions. I think the only the only problem here, I guess, would be that people would have to ask, or that you're not intrusive, or that you wait for people to ask for your help and you're not wanting to guide people without them asking you first. So I want to say in here, the painter, like the art thing that came in the reading is strictly linked to this card, and it's in reverse, and it feels to me like maybe you're not doing that, but an outlet for the energy I have presented to you would be very great. Like, it would be very nice for you to express, like, artistically. See how it fits for you, of course, but yeah, Lots of spirituality cards, moving beyond Ace of Cups, the Fool card, and something else. Like it's not a really like out there type of thing where you would like I'm spiritual. No, it's because of the Fool, and there is a lightness of character um, when it comes to like how you present yourself, and for some reason it's not it's not considered in your case really wise for you to present yourself in a very spiritual, like I'm a very spiritual person. No, in this case you are more testing the grounds, seeing like having an experience that is strictly residing within you, knowing your value, knowing your viewpoints and values, so much so that you don't need to necessarily express so much and talk about it in a very boastful way. And with the Fool card, I want to say a lot of people appreciate your character. It is complex, and I feel like with the Fool, it is not apparent, like you are not what you seem type of thing. And the old tested like relationship know about this aspect, and the superficial people, the new people that you will encounter, or the, like as I said, surface level relationships will not truly know what it is out there that is really happening with you. But somehow, like, I sense confidence, I sense respect coming to the reading. And as well, with the confidence thing, I will still cover it because I saw here the. Oh no, that's from another pile, but yeah. Um, with the Emperor card, I can say that you are very well put, or there is a sort of like public idea about you that is really well put together for some reason. Like, it's not that you're all over the place, or it's not the case of someone who's like a drama king or queen. I feel like it is a good thing that you are not necessarily like spilling all your vulnerabilities, your experiences in the exterior world. Though with the Nine of Swords, I am sure that you must be having them, and it's quite normal to have them. But there is like a sense of you covering up or not showing the real you or what's truly happening within you. I will say that it is noticeable because you have this in the reading, and people have managed to still see what's happening or see these things kind of like peaking, or yeah, people can feel things. And it's interesting because maybe it's a 50-50 situation where you would still have the intention to be the strong one for the people you love and for the people in general. But it's nice to acknowledge that you too have vulnerabilities, you too can have like these breaks. Yeah, I think that's all with these like 5 cards in here. But overall, I sense a very well-intentioned person, someone who's generous, especially like with the Ace of Cups emotionally. Okay, I think we're going to move on to the dislikes. Part of the reading. So in here you have the Pathless, Self-Exploration, and the Priest in reverse. So it feels to me like with the Pathless card you would be heavily misunderstood, very different, even alien for some, like with your experiences, with your complexity of character. It feels to me like the experiences that you went through seem too different or too way out there for people to conceptualize even. So I feel like you would be, as I said, heavily judged, for some even envied and not accepted, having gone through experiences of like alienation. um, Honestly, like, why dislikes? Like, why specifically in that case you have that information? is because I feel like the world is like a mirror, or I feel like the world is trying to, let's say, impose things upon you or impose expectations. And because of your like natural experience or natural ways in which you went through things, this experience is way too like different from what people would usually see, and therefore they don't have like a point of reference. And for some, they would consider you to be like weird or not like everyone else type of energy. And I sense in here a lot of pain for this reading, and it reminded me with a priest of a shaman experience, meaning that I've heard that in like cultures where shamanism is being practiced, when a shaman is being born, they are known or recognized specifically for the difficult path that they go through, and the pain or the setbacks or the difficulties that they are supposed to go through are a hint or like sign that they are actually meant to be the one to transcend or to help others go through the difficulties in life. So I heard specifically that the shaman is supposed to have a difficult experience because they need to harness the experience or the knowledge necessary for them to, like as I said, help others navigate them as well. So that means this could be like the explorer person or the person who went through very specific like pain. This could as well be like collective things, collective in the sense of like you had to be imprinted in a certain way for you to transcend these or to process them, let's say, because transcend is kind of weird, but digest and help others as well on this path and be like this lighthouse. There is an element of being closed off from the world. I wrote this in here. Too introspective, too silent, or too mysterious. So there could be cases in which people, as I said, not necessarily true, but they might not relate as much, or having gone through painful experiences, turmoil, abuse, things that would be labeled as taboo, and therefore I don't see a lot of like being seen, being understood, being validated, and somehow like you had to digest this on your own, not sharing past or their negative experiences. So self-exploration, that was like the introspection part where it came from. The priest as well, lots of like pain for some reason in the dislike section, like for some very specific reason I got in here haters saying that either you're not telling everything, that you're refusing to tell the full picture, like the full story, or that you're not being transparent or secretive, that you're being secretive and that you're unwilling to share the actual truth or what has actually happened. And for some reason, like honestly, it's not a negative intention behind it. It's just that people don't know what they're asking for. And there is like a desire in here to be seen, but at the same time, I don't think people will be able to brace what's actually happening or the full picture of what's actually unfolding. As well, for the dislike part, you have the anchor card, and this could be a sense of being like anchored on or centered around doing something in the same way, or having decided something and being no longer receptive to other people's opinions. So I feel like there is a strong willed person in here who's watching, especially right in the lower section you have the emperor. It feels to me like with the decisions in your life, you are that person to, like, people can say things, people can suggest things, but if you have decided for yourself what you're going to do, it feels to me like with the anchor card, people dislike the fact that you're not so easily influenced in here. So I think that's all for this reading. Pile number 3, I hope you enjoyed the reading. It was a very complex, deep, and like I had a lot to tell for this pile. I hope you resonated. If you did, please comment below and like the video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I really hope to see you in the future. Bye! Hello and welcome to your reading pile number 4, those of you who have chosen the Citrine stone. So let's begin with what people like about you, starting with the cartographer card. So I wrote in here for this one, explorer of things, new ideas, challenging the preconceived notions. The cartographer in general, like I keep stumbling upon this word, is a very active card. Active in the world, active in general. It is not a card of passivity. It's a card of exploration as well. I wrote in here innovative, evolutive, visionary, daring to see and create new things, trying as many things as possible, and extroverted. So in no sense this is a introverted card for me. If you, however, are introverted, it could be that you are very, very inwardly oriented towards self-exploration, and this is applying to this inner layer of yours, which is quite nice to have as well. I mean, yeah, actually, like I wrote these qualities in here. Most likely this is extroverted oriented message, but I only like grasp the possibility of orienting these things internally, and I'm quite fascinated as well. So the cartographer could be as well the case that you like to travel. Yeah, see how it fits for you. You have the other card from the left side, the book. The book is a very calm, yet like you could be very skilled, knowledgeable, stable, calm, having vast knowledge or favorite subjects, being to themselves and discerning with people what they let and who they let in. So if you are extroverted and the case for you is that you possess the book card in the reading, it means that you are very experienced, or that you have a lot of, as I said, information, knowledge, with favorite subjects in general. It comes to mind like this scenario in which someone is passionate about something and they know everything about this subject, and somehow involuntarily they become an expert on it, not because they wanted to be an expert, but merely because they feel so passionate about studying it or knowing how it works. So this could be the case for you as well. But overall, the book card as well, like, could be that you like reading, or if you are introverted, you could be stable, calm, or having, like, I heard there is a term called ambivert, where you can switch, or when you can be both an extrovert and an introvert. It could be the case for this reading as well. Being to themselves and discerning. With the discernment thing, I believe this pile knows very well how to sort things and people out into their life. It feels to me like you can be the person to be fun, to be like outgoing and fun to be around. That's what I wanted to say. But at the same time, you do have still moments in which you can contemplate, you can think, you can be calm and still, and ponder things. And yeah, it feels to me like with a discerning thing with people and whatnot, you can have lots of relationships or lots of connections in your life, but yeah, it's practically the same thing. I don't know why I split the message, but you can be many things to different people as well. So for some, if you have like a book club, you can be the introvert for this group. if you have a group of friends where you hang out a lot, you can be that extrovert who's like the center of attention. So I sense in here a multi-layered personality as well. Since I'm a Scorpio, I really enjoy it, so I guess it's only a matter of preference, but I love what I see. So you have the orator card in reverse with what people like about you and communication confidence. It's in reverse, however, and I wrote in here not letting themselves express, having a potential for talking to crowds of people, experience and knowing a lot, like as I mentioned previously, sincere, heartfelt, open, warm, trustful, morality as well, which is interesting, kind, compassionate, heart connected. So it feels to me like with the orator card, not only you possess the qualities I have described of lots of knowledge, like you can talk to lots of people, like you can start something, like you can create a page or whatever it is, like a project that would imply you talking about the skills or the information that you have gathered. And because it's in reverse, it feels constantly like when I stumble upon this, is that people see lots of things in you, but you don't see yourself clearly, or that you possess so many good qualities, but for some reason either you're overlooking them, or that you don't actually make use of them. And the forgotten card, like it's on the other side of the reading, but there is a message of people really like you, people really like the way in which you present things, like your company, like your intelligence as well. But for some reason, it feels to me like you are not making use or making proper use of these. Yeah, I think that's like the crux with the orator card. Speak from the heart, honestly, like I don't even have to stop at this because I mentioned compassionate, heartfelt, warm, sincere, and heart connected. There is a warmth, a gentleness, a softness to your character, which is quite nice and charming as well. It is not a type of like weakness in here. It is a strong thing that people see and really appreciate, and it is a sign of a developed person, either it be like spiritually, you name it. But speak from the heart is not that case in which someone is very much talented or capable, but is having this attitude of greed or trying to use other people for their benefit or for in their own interest, whatever. With a speak from the heart, there is an element of like sincerity, honesty, morality, as I said in there. The next card is the warrior one. It's in reverse, and the first image, like when I saw this card, I immediately came back to the message of like being very versatile, like a lot of information, having lots of arguments as well, like in different. You could be very intellectually oriented, or the faculty of the intellect can as well be very much advanced, developed, being ready to debate all and everything, having thought through a lot of things. You could be philosophical, you could be enjoying philosophical talks, or you like to debate things in general. With the warrior thing, I think you are very grounded and deep. Of course, deep, like it's an understatement because I have been talking about this for like a while. Not presenting one's true skill and competence. You're not. Wait, so I wrote in here a message that would probably mean that you're not out there, but you should be. The orator card again. Not out there despite a lot of people believing in you. So I would perhaps experiment, but yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter to experiment because I feel like you know what you're made of or you know your worth, but there is a delay in here. So for some reason, like you'd have to work your way through making yourselves seen in the world, because it feels to me like it's going to be like, and I'm not going to say like it's a missed opportunity or something like this. You have your own motives, but I think you should be appreciated more, and you gaining a lot of like exposure would settle things right in that regard. Like, the more you're going to expose yourself to the world, the better it's going to express back or reflect back your value. The next card, or let's say the 6 cards you have in here, is the Emperor, 6 of Wands, 9 of Swords, reversed, 8 of Swords, 7 of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. So with the Emperor, I wrote in here responsible, serious, in control, determinate, caring for the cause, and not looking or not backing down or not looking at setbacks, willful, active, energetic as well. So obviously what people like about you with the Emperor card, and especially the 6 of Wands, people consider you to be very successful, very goal driven, or very promising overall. Like, I sense in here the case for this pile is that you do receive a lot of compliments, a lot of support, and a lot of like, you must have a fan base, that's for sure. And if you don't know it yet, then perhaps it's going to be like an unfolding journey. But I think with the 9 of Swords, you worry too much, or you have a self-image that is not entirely reflective of the actual truth of you. And with the 8 of Swords, I want to say in here that it honestly feels to me like this is the case of someone who is maybe struggling, but like the actual picture of what's actually happening and your truest potential is hidden in the eyes of the people that really love you. And that, you know, these small setbacks or the problems that you might be experiencing as like blockages, or you feeling like uncertain, could be the case that you are like struggling on your own, and the reality is actually different. So I've heard this like comment where, you know, our mind lies to us constantly, and it could as well be the case that people see you way better than you see yourself. Another message in here with the 9 of Swords, it could be that you're very considerate, or that you're very caring with people that you love. And with the 9, especially in reverse, I can say you can be a very strong, reliant, people can rely upon you when they need. Or aside from the message I have told you previously, people consider you to be the one to help them and find the right solution in their problems. Or with the 7 of Wands, it feels to me like you would be capable of fighting for the loved ones, or fighting for something, like either it be like loved ones, your own territory, or like the shared territory with the people that you love. You could be defending people as well. 9 of Pentacles, sorry, that's the Queen of Pentacles. With the overall messages with the other cards, I think people would see you as wealthy, generous, and like materially stable, or one person who's capable of creating comfort around them, or living with high amounts of abundance. Overall, I sense in here like as well like a very vast image, like a self image that is being broadcast in the exterior, but there are lots of like negative things or negative emotional experiences you might be having in the background, and these are rarely seen or even acknowledged by a lot of people. And it feels to me like this could be because of for some reason, for your own fault, like not wanting to open up, or you wanting to create this best impression for people, which is totally understandable, by the way, where you would want to be seen as associated with positive qualities, and for you to come up with the vulnerabilities or like negative things happening with you, it would be like to mix these two things up and to ruin this like reputation or the image that you have created, which is not necessarily true. But you have the Forgotten card, the Non-Attachment in reverse, and the Spy Master. Knowledge, distrust at the Spy Master. I think with the Spy Master, the negative thing is some people that you love, or even friends, would consider you to be like very secretive or afraid to trust, or that you might be either building walls, maintaining walls, or people are having a very hard time reaching out to you. With a non-attachment card as well, you can be detached to the degree where the discussion leads to like vulnerable stuff, emotional stuff. You could be avoidant in that regard, or with a Spy Master, you don't really want to let people in. And with a non-attachment, you could be as well detaching from your pain, or trying to run away from it, or trying to pretend it doesn't exist for some of you. And what people dislike, it could be that, some people might visually see that you're distressed or that you're going through a lot, but you for some reason refuse help, or that you refuse to talk about it in the first place. The Forgotten, a very strange card, to be honest. It talks about a person in the context of the deck. It's about a citadel, a loner, or a person who is unsure of their value, or they are not sure that they can bring something to the table or to this world or to this like fortress, and therefore they feel like they are left out in the cold. And for me, this pile is notoriously known for not wanting to share their pains, or not wanting to be accepting of pain. And the first step would be like with a non-attachment in reverse, to feel or to really acknowledge what's happening truthfully and in actuality, and not hiding it, or not hiding it not only from yourself but from the world in general. And I see here lots of like distress, pain, and desperation here with the Spy Master, as though you would want to dearly entrust your either mental health, or you'd want to receive help, but somehow you're so afraid that you still somehow remain alone. You have as well the house, and that reminded me of the walls metaphor so much. I wrote in here: stubborn, set in their own ways, refusing help, isolating in their pain, lacking self-appreciation or compassion, not believing in oneself. And with the other cards I have just described, I wrote in here: detached, absent, or lonely. Creating lots of distance between you and the world, between you and people and the loved ones. Distance, alienation. So honestly, the house card, like, I would not be surprised if you're that type of person to isolate when you experience pain or when you experience distress, because the house card is like this checkpoint for me where you would feel safe, where you would feel alone. For some reason, in this case, the house feels to me like it's alone. So you could be afraid of people, or you could be afraid of interacting with people in general. And this isolation, somehow it feels to me like you are feeling like in a house full of walls, and you are barring yourself out from the world. I would say there is a lot of things that need unpacking here, and it is for some reason like in the category of like dislike. And it feels to me like either people obviously feel, see, and understand very much, like very well, what's actually happening with you, and you are just thinking that it's not as apparent as it is. But the decision or the choice to remain in this alone is strictly on your own, like, conscience, because, like, it feels to me like it's a case of their own doing. The first step for me in this case would be acknowledging the fact that you're feeling this way, because with the non-attachment, I would say you could be out in the clouds or dissociating from the experience, and I think you'd use a lot of, like, alone time or time to yourself, feeling, acknowledging what you're going through, digesting your experiences, maybe as well the case, and thinking about the possibility whether you want or not to let in people and to let yourself be seen, or to accept help, or to accept the fact that you need answers or you need support when you feel like you can't handle it. Like, if you feel like you have some issues or troubles, do consider consulting or reaching out for help in here, because it feels to me like this is a core thing here, a core theme that is going on in the shadows, and it has to be addressed in order for you to properly shine, or in order for you to feel better, because it feels to me like you have the abundance, you have the potential, you have all the other things sorted out. The only remaining thing in here for you to feel your best, it would be to acknowledge the fact that it is okay for you to go through painful experiences, to validate yourself, to validate the fact that they exist, to feel more, and perhaps to see and ponder whether you need help with this or not. I think that's all. I covered everything in this reading. I don't really necessarily see the hate in here. It is not really hateful. It's more linked to the what people don't like about you, that would be like on the scale of a positive contribution. With the house as well, I wanted to add, it could be like set in their ways in the sense of being traditionalistic, or you could be fixated upon things working in a certain way. For example, if you have an issue, you might be like set in your own ways in believing that you know what you have to do, and no longer being receptive or open to other modalities. But in here it would be the case with the walls metaphor, like, very strongly. I felt like with the spy master as well, letting more people in, of course trusting when is the right time to do that, but definitely like work or feel your way into inviting more people and more, like, belonging, help, and kindness, compassion to yourself, through other people, to yourself, like on your own. This would benefit you the most. And believe in your potential, because lots of people do believe and see lots of things inside of you that perhaps you're not ready to see yourself. So I hope it resonated with you, pile number 4. If it did resonate, please comment below and like the video. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Make sure to check out my old videos as well, and I really hope to see you in the future. Take care of yourselves. Bye.